I pay taxes. I'm a taxpayer. I want my money to go to the right business. And that's the purpose of this law. Yesterday, the IRS ordered all new ERC applications to be stopped from processing. Also, they have announced those that they have, I don't know, I've heard 600,000, 700,000. They're getting over 100,000 a week. They're actually getting more a week now than during the pandemic. And in some areas, we're 2 and at least 3 years away. So not sure why, except maybe fraudulent returns. And part of the reason why they've stopped this is exactly that, is because people are, it sounds good. You hear on TV and stuff, it's free money. You hear some people on TV say everybody qualifies, every small business should have this. And the answer is no. And what I want to do is just a quick news brief on this. It's Friday afternoon. It just happened. First thing is, I'm glad the IRS has taken a position. I started doing YouTubes 3.5 years ago in April of 20. And the nice thing for you that's been following me on these YouTubes, of all the YouTubes, I don't know, I've done 20, 25 of these. I don't have to change a single one after all of the IRS notices, news releases in this. The one thing is they've stopped processing new claims, and I'll go into why in a minute. But secondly, they've also announced some new procedures. So with that, I just want to say it's time when the IRS stops processing, and they're saying we're going to look at some kind of amnesty for those that have already got the money, and they're going to increase the audit and compliance on the ones that they already have, plus the ones they're getting. It's a new day. So IRS is going to be what appears to be very active. And my big takeaway is that this is the first step. And I really think what's happening here, it's that I do a lot of audit. I've done forensic audits. I've testified in criminal cases. And the thing I look at is that if you stop and say, be aware of this, and you become aware of that, I'm talking to the small business, I'm talking to the practitioners that are now starting to participate on a percentage of the fees that are a percentage of the refund. So it's small business, but it's also practitioners. I'm starting to see it. I've even seen some banks now participating. Whoever's participated, when the IRS comes down on the small business can't say, well, they told me, because the small business signed the engagement letter. I've talked in other videos, and you've relied on somebody, yes. But the other thing, remember, if that small business, you're the one that signed the 941Xs, you're the one that signed the engagement letter with these mills that have said, oh, you're the one that determined you were qualified. So just a real quick, kind of like an ad to what my flagship's been. If you, small business, and you, tax professional, advising the small business, if you do not know why you qualify and you can't state it, you better pay attention to the news releases yesterday, because that is, again, kind of like taking a break, and the IRS is saying, beware, are you doing this right? In a few days, you're going to have a way to repay the money. But remember, again, I'll repeat, if small business you, or you as a tax pros and advisor, cannot say why you qualify or your client qualifies, you better go back and revisit. And if you don't, even in the release from yesterday, they say, go get a second opinion. Get a second opinion from your accountant. See, on all these advertisements, emails, text, phone calls, TV, they'll say one thing over the last several months. Small business, your tax professional, your CPA, your EA, your accountant, they don't understand the rules. It's very complex. Guess what? They're at it already, less than 24 hours. Here's something that came to my CPA firm, and I won't name the company, but it says, claims will take much longer. Are you willing to wait a year for your client's money? They're advertising to tax professional. Are you willing to wait a year for your client's money? And then they have a picture of it's approved, and then they tell what it is, and here's the big takeaway that I like. In all the advertisements, how many times Small business, how many times tax professional have you heard? This is a very complex. We've got these experts. Well, and I'm now shopped over 20 of these companies. I have yet to talk to an expert. Last week, I actually recorded somebody that told me that their checklist, the one page I've talked about in other videos, it's been approved by the IRS. I have it recorded. They will go that far. It's not approved by the IRS. And you don't, as I've done in my door 1 and door 2, it doesn't qualify. But here's what I love. Here's a new twist. Yesterday, the IRS announces, we're cracking down. Here's what's neat. The application process is very easy when utilizing blank, the company's name, in-house platform. Well, how come all of a sudden it's now very easy when last week and 2 years ago, it was very complex? You know, I'm a country boy from the Ozarks. I live in the northern part of the Ozarks. I didn't just fall off a wagon and hit my head. It's not free money. Small business and the tax professional advising it, you got to beware. IRS is finally coming. I've been telling you that for 3 or 4 weeks. Do I want the IRS to come? No. But I believe if they check any of the ERC applications I've done it by a flat fee for review plus so much for every 10 W-2s. But it's most of the time a few $100s. Yeah, because then I don't have a dog in the hunt. I'm not on, I get 25% of the commission. Remember, and I was talking to a doctor the other day, he goes, this guy is, he's really concerned. And I said, Doc, do you realize in this contract, you're the one determining that you are the one that qualifies you? They're not. Oh, really? I said, read your contract. I said, the other thing, this is the 3rd time you've been in my office in 2 years because they keep ramping it up and it's got to be right. Well, I'm going to say what was released yesterday. There's 3 items, and they're all on irs.gov, IRS News. But my bottom line is the promoters have now, the other thing, the promoters have went from it's very complex. It's a very easy process if you use our platform. And let me continue on. It says blank has an in-house platform that lets you submit your clients to be approved for an ERC. Once your client is approved, you are able to receive 20% of all contingent fees. Well, I did a video on contingent fees. They're not paying attention to the IRS. They're not paying attention to the law. So why would you as a small business go to somebody that says, oh, I'm going to refer you to somebody who knows what they're doing? They get, in this case, 25%, and the accountant you're talking to is getting 20%. And if you are a regulated preparer, tax pros, we call it Circular 230, you're looking at somebody that's a CPA. Based on standards, IRS standards, I cannot charge a contingent fee on a return or an audit return. And the final note, as far as before I go into the next topic, is the fact that whenever I represent you or work with you, I've got to disclose. And if I could charge a fee, I would have to disclose to you that I'm getting this percentage of the fee. So all of a sudden, another one, I got an email yesterday, they're trying to recruit me to get the fee. I had another one here. Good news, Larry. Just had an affiliate that got $16,000. I rounded that. But got $16,000 because they spent 30 minutes getting the client's information together. If I'm a small business and I'm going to my tax professional and I know that they're going to get 1/4 or 25% of 20%, wow. Do you have my best interest? So, small business, beware. Tax professionals, beware. Because once this starts happening, and then I'm going to change the topic a little bit. We're going to then go to phase 2 and talk about red flags. That's another part. This is on news release, irs.gov. And that is that whenever they start this process, and this is step one. Yesterday was step one. We're going to have probably in 10 days, 2 weeks, we're going to have step two and following steps. But we got this kind of grace period. The IRS is watching to see what small business is going to do, what tax professionals are going to do. They're going to see whether there's more apps come in or not. I'm sure they're watching that advertisement I just read you. But you know what I found out today? They're moving what this company is doing. Oh, and the third thing, very easy platform. Oh, and by the way, I can get 20% of what the company charges you, the small business. And thirdly, and I almost forgot this, and it was a fact that, the hook, we can make a loan. It's 15% of the refund. So when this ad started out, as a recap, then we'll go to the next step. IRS halts ERC procedures. Okay? First thing is that you're willing to wait a year. The application process is a very easy process utilizing our platform. Tax professional, you get 20% of the fee. And oh, by the way, for your client, for 15% of the refund, we can advance them the loan now. So to me, that says you're going to get approved. Wrong. Right now, there's very few applications going in that qualify. And so I'm going to just say, I'm going to leave it with, they're also now, and this is where they're moving to, we will finance while you wait. Don't do that. And then the final area I want to go over is, next to final, two things. One is they got a series of red flags. One, if they're charging you a fee, I'm looking at red flags. They're charging you a fee, a percentage of the refund, beware. Unsolicited calls or advertisement, beware. Statements that promoters can determine the ERC within minutes. I got a video where they determined I qualified in 1 minute. That's first place. I have now qualified in one of the videos in a minute. Fees or percentage of the refund. And you can go on down and read this online. But the important thing, I actually have a video out there counting on red flags, stop signs, etc. The final topic, and then I'm going to wrap this because this is supposed to be a news brief, is that they now have an employee retention credit eligibility checklist. Help you understand complex credits. And I think they did a really good job here. But here within the next week, 10 days, it's a checklist. I'm going to take their checklist and I'm going to turn it into a flow chart. I'm saying that before I try it, but normally I can flow chart it out because I find that for me personally, if I can flow chart it, if I can show it to my clients and I can flow chart it, it's a much better process. But again, if you start having questions, go to the irs.gov/ERC and look at the employee retention credit eligibility checklist. And I want to come back to you in each one of these areas and say, here's what it means. But I'll go back. If you've already got the ERC refund, if you have an application in, or you're thinking about applying, please get a second opinion. And if they're charging a fee, whether it's one of the ERC mills, or now I'm seeing it I've got competition now that's referring them to the mills. All it takes is one client to turn you in as I'm a licensed professional. I could get turned in, so could the EAs, and be turned in to say they're participating in a percentage of a refund. Please do not make decisions right now. Get second opinions, and please tell other people about this. Help your neighbor, help your small business, because this is the money, when it's erroneous or fraudulent, is going to people that should not have got it. And remember, I pay taxes. I'm a taxpayer. I want my money to go to the right business. And that's the purpose of this law. See you on the next video. Hope this helps. News brief. See you in the next video.